close. All members are present and accounted for at 7 o'clock. Can I do anything else on that? Can we
Consent
just
calendar.
say it again?
That's fine. Meeting called to order at 7, minutes to show all members present.
She'll keep you straight.
I need it. Consent calendar. Any issues, comments?
Move to accept as written.
Second.
There you go, sir. Thanks, sir.
Okay. Marcus Major,
Present.
Dean Moberg,
Yes.
Jim Westmoreland,
Yeah.
Jim Fricky,
Present.
Jeff Clammer.
Yes.
There was consent calendar.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you're still present.
I'll be present.
How about present and yes?
Yes,
There you go.
present, yes.
There you go.
Pres yes.
Moving on to new business, hearing from the audience. Since we had one that just showed, do you have anything to say? Do you have
I
a-
was wondering, and it's probably more for the chief, or maybe you guys, I don't know. But I'm the township clerk, and Jim is our representative. And since we got the new guy out there as of January, and Rick said our numbers had gotten better, and I understand, and tell me if I'm understanding this wrong, it's collectively as a whole department, because they respond to the state fires as this station, and this station responds to that one. Okay, is there any way that we can get solid numbers of what happens in High Prairie?
We looked
So
at
it
both
is.
those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pulling data on both those right now.
Yeah.
I don't, do you have it ready to talk to tonight? You have one set of data you're gonna talk to.
I give it to you in my report. I don't.
Yeah, and I have that. We'll
It's
talk
like
about that.
7 minutes right now.
Is that specifically just High Prairie's numbers?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Then I have it right here. So we have,
Keep track of
in,
response times, and they're much better.
yeah,
Right, but I
so
didn't know if it was collectively,
it's
because,
both. We look at it both ways.
Your calls.
Yeah.
yeah,
But for example, High Prairie only, in 2012, it was 1156. It actually went up in 2013 to 1246. 2014, 1147. We started doing little tests into 2015, went to 1033. And so far this year, we're sitting at 7 minutes and 40 seconds, almost half. Yeah, so just, and then it's also bringing down the entire fire department as a whole as well.
okay. So we went from 2 people last year to having 3 as of January 1, right?
There's a test out there.
Yes, it does.
A test with the third, yeah.
Yeah.
And since January, it's went
From
from...
11 something to 7.
1033
just
to
that one other
740.
person. Okay.
Well, it's a third of the shifts get covered by that one
Right.
person, right? It's kind of, I agree, when I was thinking about it, it was a lot tougher to think through that, how's it gonna help that much, but it does,
Right.
yeah. Did I say that right? Okay.
Sure. Everything you say
Can you
is
say
right.
it something-
Everything you say is right.
Everything's right.
I know who signs my check. Everything you say is right.
Is that, okay. Any other comments? Anything else? All right. So moving on to special reports, Chief?
The only thing I have to add is the department dinner will be April 16th at 6 PM. If you guys are planning on attending, let me know.
April what? 16?
April 16th, yes. It's a Saturday night, 6 o'clock. Happy hour will be up at City Hall. Dinner at 7. And we pay by the head, so let me know who's showing up. If you bring a guest.
Sounds good.
Items for action. SOP 2001 purchasing policy.
I think I got everything in there this time.
We discussed this a couple months ago, and italicized areas are what we changed, specifically on procedures. A, changing from telephonic bids to electronic, so cover us both ways. B, electronic or written bids. Then purchase, we changed the amount to excess 15,000. And after negotiations by the chief, shall require sealed bids and/or utilization of services of purchasing cooperative. Those were the changes we talked about.
So we need a motion on the purchasing and bidding policy update.
I move that we accept the
Changes.
the standard operating procedure for purchasing and bidding policy as amended. And if it's approved, I assume we'll clean that up, right, and make a final copy.
I don't think so. I think we're gonna leave it
Right now,
with
we're
all
gonna
the-
leave it lined
We're
in.
gonna leave it with all the lines in there,
We'll make it
red,
It'll be pretty.
highlighted.
Anyway, I move that we accept it.
Second.
and it'll look like that.
Marcus Major,
Yes.
Dean Moberg,
Yes.
Jim Westmoreland,
Yes.
Jim Fricky,
Yes.
Jeff Flett.
Yes. The exhaust system for Station 1.
Okay, this is something we've been working on for the last several years. We finally decided to go ahead and do it this year. When we built the station back in 2000, we put an exhaust system for the trucks in, and we put 4 bays only, because at the time, that's all the trucks we had, the diesel trucks we had. Since then, we've added 2 more diesels, so we were, last year, for the budgeting cycle, we went ahead and budgeted to do all 3 bays. But since we've sold the other truck, and we're looking at maybe downsizing the truck, we kind of decided we only need to go with 2 of them. So we've got a proposal, you saw the sales quotation for $27,000 and change for 3 units. We cut that down to 2 units, it'll be right around $18,800. This is a sole source vendor, since we've already got Netherman, we have to go, with Netherman. And they have sales areas, so the gentleman out of Bonner Springs is the sales rep for this area, so that's why we, just got the 1 quote. We're pretty well stuck on who we have to go with. He has also volunteered, he has scissors lift for $1. He'll bring his, when he delivers the parts, he'll bring his scissors lift up and let us use it to install it ourselves, so I thought that was pretty nice. So, and just like I said, this was a budget drive for this year. We budgeted $30,000.
So a motion to approve the purchase of the Magnatrack exhaust systems. Magnatrack exhaust systems.
I make the motion.
Second?
Marcus Major,
Yes.
Dean Moberg,
Yes.
Jim Westmoreland,
Yes.
Jim Fricky,
Yes.
Jeff Flett.
Yes. Items for discussion, 2017 SIP proposals.
I tried to discuss it with Jeff in trying something different this year. Instead of hitting you guys up in May and June with budget items, what we want to do new for next year, and kind of overwhelming you there in May and June. Figure we'll start in March. We can give you guys the basics. Hey, this is what we're looking at doing. This is what it's going to cost us. Now, we don't know the budgets. We don't know what kind of income we're having, the mill levy or anything. So we don't know, the bottom line what's going to cost us. But what I want to do is get this out there in front of you guys now. So if you want any more information, then I don't have to hurry up and try to find, information in the next week or so. I can go ahead and start getting the information you guys want. So if you want to kind of walk through it any way,
You have 4 items you're looking for, right? Is that
Right.
4 different options?
4 different options.
So, one is you're looking, there's 2 things that we've talked about in 2016, such as if the results, depending on how those, we're going into April, and the test is supposed to run through May 1st.
Right.
So if these results continue, there'll be a nice discussion around what we're gonna do there, for the budgeted for a firefighter.
Right.
There's also your request for a new truck in 2016.
What we're looking at there is a pickup truck. We kind of talked about it last year with the Kubota, and we went back and forth a little bit. We decided to go with the Kubota. What we're looking at doing is a pickup truck for Station 2, since right now we're driving the big tanker on all the calls. So it's pretty cost prohibitive. Like I say, we're spending 150 gallons a month of fuel. Earlier this year, I took one of the brush trucks out there to let the guys run it during the wintertime, and we saw no drop in fuel usage at all. So what we're looking at doing is like a 250 type pickup truck, you know, not saying it's a Ford, but, you know, Chevy, Dodge, whatever, something, you know, not a lightweight one, but a decent
Yeah, that was
truck
my
that's gonna
question.
be able
That-
to haul whatever.
If we had to, it could be an alternative
Yes.
if something happened to that one. I mean, not exactly, but
Yeah.
it'd have the capacity.
Well, that way the guys can run out on medicals when it's snowing and freezing in the wintertime. When it's raining real hard, we have to get some of these muddy driveways. That big truck doesn't make it very good. So
Right.
it's gonna be a good alternative vehicle.
I guess what I'm saying is, this is just gonna be a straight pickup. It's not gonna, it can't really, the way it's gonna be delivered is just a straight pickup.
Yeah,
It's not
just-
gonna have any kind of auxiliary equipment in it.
Well, they have red lights and that, but, you know.
Right, but it
wrenches
won't
and
have
No
anything like
drop-in
the
unit.
seven.
What we'll do is end up taking the Kubota out to Station 2, and then that truck will pull that Kubota. Because right now, we've got nothing in Station 2 that can pull the Kubota, so it has to stay in here for now. So
Oh, is it-
if somebody wants a brush truck for out there, then that pickup truck will pull the Kubota, and there's a brush truck.
Yeah, it's just a good, it's a good idea. I was just wanting to know exactly what kind of configuration it had in there.
Yeah, it'll be a 250 style, you know, we'll go out and get bids for it.
What do we have out there? So what would be out there in your,
Right now, we have the county special rescue, that ambulance that we're running, and we're running it. Part of the time, we're running, that's 1991.
we just running it because they gave it to us and we just are driving it, or?
Yeah, we're driving it to save that tanker,
Yeah,
because we'll drive it sometimes just to be driving. Or, you know, if it's real hot, that it's got some air conditioning, but we need to drive it back and forth. Just basically, we're wearing that 91 tanker out.
is it, let me beat this horse again.
No, you're fine.
50% of our calls, brush fires, are out there.
Probably.
Maybe higher.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
It's not here in
No,
town.
no.
And why don't we have the brush truck out there?
Well, we don't have the brush truck out there because right now we've got one, maybe two guys. So if we have a brush truck and a tanker, so that gives each guy a truck, and we don't really want a truck with one guy.
But if we're
So-
running a brush, if it's a fire,
Yeah.
which is most of the fires out in our neck of the woods are grass fires.
But we have to have the tanker, we have to have the pumper tanker to make it a rated station.
Yeah, no, I get it.
For the
It
lower
could just
insurance
sit
rate.
out there.
So we got the pumper tanker out there, and if we put a brush truck out there,
Yeah.
we've got two trucks, we've got two
Well,
guys.
can you get rid of the ambulance, right?
Yeah, we can give it back to the county.
I'm just trying to understand.
We really
from
don't need it, but
a-
right now, we're keeping it just to save us driving that tanker all the time.
From an efficiency standpoint, I know that one of the thoughts was, well, we have two of the brush trucks here.
Right.
We got 60% of the fires out there, but we keep both those here.
Yeah, because we have nobody, we can put three trucks out there, but if we only got two guys, the
Well,
trucks sit. So then
right
there's
now
six
for
guys
our
in here,
test-
we got six guys in here looking for a
Yeah,
truck to
that's
drive.
fine.
We got two guys out there, they
We're
take
fully
one
staffed
truck.
out there right now.
Yeah.
Right now, for the last 6 months, we've been
Yes.
fully staffed.
Right.
So, I guess I'm not understanding from an efficiency why we wouldn't want to put a brush fire truck out there.
Okay, again, we have a brush truck and we have a tanker. We have to
gotta
keep
have
the
a
pumper
tanker
tanker
out
out there. We have to keep that out there.
Yeah, we got 3 bays, right? Or 2 bays?
Yeah, but why do we want to sit two trucks when we got two guys and we, okay, now
Well, now
we're
we're back
going
on
two
2
guys.
guys. We're at 3 guys. We have 3 guys out there for
No,
6
no, no,
months.
no, no, we have one guy. We have 3 shifts.
And you want to
Yeah,
run the
get more
tanker.
We've got one
That's
guy
right.
out there
That's
tonight.
right.
We've got one guy
Okay.
out there tonight, and if Steve, our volunteer, is out there now, we've got 2 guys. But if Steve's not out there,
And wh-
then we're down to
Why are
one
we
guy.
rolling the tanker if it's a brush fire?
Because it will fill the brush trucks up with water.
The brush rig's no good without the
You
tank.
got a
Yeah, the
big,
brush rig
It's
only
good
got
for about
it's got 200 gallons of
15
water,
minutes.
that's it.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can't.
So
put
we're
out
getting
a
the
big brush
refill
truck.
truck there before the brush truck gets there.
sometimes, yeah.
Well, it should be in 60% of the time.
And that refill truck can go sit in front of the barn. If there's, you know, of course, every fire's heading towards a house, so they can sit in front of the barn and protect the barn.
Yeah.
They just can't go off-road. But we can't have 2 trucks with 2 guys, because now we've got a truck sitting there. We've got 6 guys showing up here. We roll one brush truck, the other guys are going, well, we don't have a truck to roll.
So we're gonna get a 250 that pulls something, but shouldn't we be running the tanker versus the truck for
Yeah.
brush fire?
Yeah.
So we're still not gonna run the The new truck.
Well, we
and
can
the
run that
Kubota.
brush truck out, we can run the Kubota there as a brush truck. If it's coming this way, it's gonna run as a tanker. If
Okay.
it's gonna run that way, we can use it as a brush truck and run the tanker out of here. It gives us another option.
It does, I get it. I'm just pushing on you because it's logical and it's not making
No,
sense.
it's, well,
It's not making
it
sense.
does over here.
Where there's equipment, there's personnel.
Right, and
That's two different issues.
we got more out there, we will have more equipment than we have personnel.
Well,
Because
let's,
we've got one paid guy sitting there,
Yep.
and he rolls a truck by himself.
What's he
which
rolling?
I don't, right now, he's rolling a tanker.
What do you want him rolling?
Well, that's what he's gonna roll.
He's always gonna roll a tank.
Yeah, yesterday, we rolled to a mutual aid house fire with one guy.
But to come into town to save on gas, we're gonna buy a 250 to pull the Kubota.
For the med calls. Now, if he's running into town for a fire call, yeah, he's bringing the tanker in. But if he runs on a med call, which is 80% of our calls,
Yeah, it is.
he's gonna run the pickup truck on the med call.
You're just saving on the tanker.
We're saving
With a
on the
pickup.
tanker.
For med calls.
yeah, the more you drive them big trucks, they deteriorate, so to speak. I use the word deteriorate. They deteriorate a lot quicker than small vehicles.
We wouldn't run the ambulance on a med call out there.
We have. But then
We
it
don't
looks
want
kind of, but then it looks kind of, okay, people show up with the fire department with, why don't you transport me in this ambulance? So, now two ambulances show up and so it looks kind of, and the only reason we're keeping that truck is just to save on driving that tanker.
So the difference between there's probably not much of a difference between a base 150 or a 250.
Probably not.
It's probably worth just understanding those prices, just to
And we'll,
understand it.
if you guys are willing to go for it, we'll start spending the effort and getting some basic
Can I ask
numbers.
a question? What's the difference, you said there's a pumper truck and a brush truck. What's the difference?
A pumper truck carries air packs, ladders, hose,
Fully equipped.
fully equipped to fight a structure fire.
The big truck.
And that's our main goal, is to fight structure fires.
Well,
Okay.
Okay,
hopefully
brush
they'll have
truck
water
carries
too, huh?
just a little bit of water and basically a big garden hose to put out the grass.
And
That's
a
it.
pumper truck is like 250 gallons?
No, that truck out there is 1,250.
1,250,
Yeah.
okay.
All of our
And that'll
trucks carry at
last
least
you
1,000.
15, 20 minutes? Or-
Depends on how you're using it.
Right, right.
It
right.
depends on what hose and how many hoses we're pulling and
You can't run
And
it out in the
How many
grass.
guys do you have, how many trucks here do you have?
6.
6, right? And is
Think
there
about it
6
for a
guys on
No.
site all the time?
No, but there's volunteers.
So you
But there's
have more
volunteers.
vehicles than what you
But there's
have?
volunteers.
Right.
Out there, we don't have any volunteers.
Aren't the same volunteers going to the same place?
Yeah, but they're not gonna, the volunteers live here in town, so we're not gonna drive out to Station 2 and grab a truck and drive back in here.
Right, but I
As
mean,
I've said the last couple of years, we're not equipment limited, we're personnel limited. We don't have any problem with having equipment.
well, even if we get more people out there, we still don't have enough equipment. But
I don't
it
think
seems like
so.
there's over equipment in here.
But our limitation is people, not.
If we would get 5 or 6 more people out there, we'd put another truck out there. But we don't have the 5 or 6 more people. We've never had the 5 or 6 more people. That was the original plan, that's why we built so many bays out there, was to put more trucks out there. Well, we're not getting the people.
Well, like Jeff said, we have the brush out there, brush fires out there mostly. And not saying that you can't have grass fires in here, but the truck that you have out there is not really for brush fires.
No.
It's for insurance
But-
rating, right?
It's
Most
for insurance rating. It's for structure
So it's for
fire.
looks.
No.
Well, it saves you money.
No.
No, it'll go up to the farmhouse, they're protecting the buildings.
Dwelling.
Yeah.
Because you can pump water out of it to fight the fire.
Yeah.
But you take the brush rig out, it's good for 20 minutes, it's out of water, then gotta get it someplace.
Right.
So you refill at with the truck. So it's,
Yeah,
Experts fighting a fire.
yesterday we had a rolling grass fire. I mean, it was moving 30 miles an hour, and we had a truck sitting in front of the barn, and the fire, it put the fire out around the barn, and the fire went on around, just like it's supposed to, and brush trucks took care of it out in the field, came
Right.
back up, filled up at the barn, went back out in the field.
Well, I guess I'm on the same wavelength as Jeff, because it's like, keeping the brush truck out there along with the pumper truck. But I understand where you're coming from, one person, you're both going to the same fire, right?
Yeah, but one guy can't drive 2 trucks.
This is the chief's problem. I don't think we ought to be discussing this.
I
We're
just-
discussing an expenditure.
I know, but.
That's a result
we're
of
getting
having
into
this
the
discussion.
operational issues.
I mean, we get into this every year when we want to spend money, and you always say it's a chief's thing. We're
the
going to
easy
spend a lot of
solution
money.
is we
Well,
put
what she's
4
talking about is
full-time firemen
operational
out of Station
problem.
2.
There you go.
Then we can have 2 more trucks. So all we need is 12 more firemen for Station 2.
12.
3 shifts.
I think we need
I'm not sure
to, we
that
need to
that
leave the
makes
time
sense to
motion
me.
up to the chief. We can't solve it here.
That's fair. I think that's fair, yeah. So that we have a discussion that we're gonna have later on for the budget cycle that talks about what kind of truck we're gonna
This
have.
particular truck, if the board decided to do it now, we've got the money now this year to buy this truck. Like I said, the workman's comp came in way cheaper than what we budgeted for, and then the sale of the truck, and then the 18,000 we're saving from the VAC system, so we're pretty close to having
If we
enough
buy it, we
money.
should buy it this year. If we
Yeah.
think it's a good idea, we should buy it this year. So you wanna put it on the agenda for next time to vote on it and see if it's
Good
gonna go?
idea. And so the new guys know.
Well, I mean, if you guys are saying, excuse me, if you guys are saying go for it, we can start going for bids now. I mean, that's not gonna take a board motion to go out for bids.
Information, yeah, let's do
Well,
it.
I certainly appreciate all the information you put together in the analysis. And based on what I see on paper, I think we ought to strike while the iron's hot, because we don't know what the next couple of years are gonna be.
I mean.
And what you've got lined up here improves our
15
equipment and
16
reliability.
trucks out now?
Yeah,
I don't know when the 16 stopped and the 17 starts. so-
September,
Okay, so if we do it now, then we can get a 15 instead of 16.
yeah.
So if that's what the board wants to do, I'll start going out and getting bids and quotes and,
And so our new guys know historically, as soon as you say this is for firefighters, for protection, first responders, in rough terms from sticker price, it's roughly half,
yeah, you get a better deal.
much better deal.
Danny Zek gives us a real good deal. I mean, they sell all the vehicles around. So, but not saying, and there's a state bid out there, we can go off that state bid, and they usually beat the state.
They do get a great bid out
They-
there.
they
We've
do-
pushed
they
on that
beat-
a few times.
Yeah, they beat the state, they beat the state bid, so.
I think from this year, and the reason is I've been looking at trucks for the last 3 months. For whatever reason, this year has been probably the worst sales between Dodge, GMC, Ford, Chevy, and now, as of this month, GMC is kicking 12 grand off of MSRPs on 2015s because they're just flooded. We're into March of 2016 and they have thousands of 2015 trucks still not sold.
Yeah.
I've never seen it like this before, where the dealerships are sitting heavy with a year-old vehicle that are still brand new.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, you're talking about-
so if we're looking to save money and get a truck, I guess
do
this
get
year
you-
would probably be the best year to do it, because
Okay.
the economy is saying that people aren't buying vehicles right now.
Well, not only
Ain't
that,
buying.
we're lucky right now, we got all these cost trade-offs that we can take care of, as he pointed out. But
Why don't we take a look at bids?
I would say look at the bids, see
Yeah.
what we got, see what the cost are.
Will you make sure and also get a bottom end 150 as well, kind of the base model? I know you have some thoughts around having, would you multitask with it, either one? You're pulling a Gator, you're not putting stuff into the back of it. Do you have still the same capacity? One's more rugged,
Yeah.
so,
That's the only thing is, we could buy a 150, but, what's the next chief gonna do 3 years from now, 4 years from now? That gives them more options,
why'd you add another year?
Huh?
Huh?
Do what?
Chief,
No, I'm just saying, down the road, if we buy a 150, you can't,
Yeah.
you're stuck with Elijah's truck out there.
I'd say,
If we go with a bigger truck, then it gives you more
I'd say
options. But,
you-
we'll definitely look at pricing.
all right, thank you.
in our business, I think you ought to go for a heavier frame and everything than 250. It'd be a lot more cost-effective in the long run.
So the third topic was replacing the 1995 and selling off the 91 pumpers in 2017.
Right, what we're looking at there is, we've got a 1995 truck that right now is not costing us a lot, but it's due. Just like the truck we just sold had an $8,000 pump problem. The truck we got at Station 2 had the same problem 3 years ago, so this truck is gonna be between those two, so we're looking at a probably $10,000 to $12,000 repair there if it goes bad. Brakes, the paint on it is starting to chip and rust. So it's something that's not costing us right now, but it's primed to be there. And it's, again, 25 years old. So what we're looking at doing, we've had an officers meeting and we're looking at buying a truck just like we bought 2 years ago, pretty much, I mean, we take some of the, it wouldn't be quite as elaborate as this truck, so we'll take some of that truck off. But it would be the same basic truck and then sell 2 trucks. So now we're decreasing the fleet by 1 because the 1 truck we have out here now is not set up for the country, it's set up for city only. So we buy the newer truck, it'll be set up for one of the country, so every truck we've got now will be set up country, city, doesn't make any difference, it's right ready to rock and roll. So
You're gonna get some values for a trade-in and also,
those are pretty good values. I gave you guys $20,000 to $25,000, that's about it. There's a lot of trucks out there on the market, and just like we just found out, we just sold one for 3, and that's all we could get out of it. So that's, Leavenworth got just about that on their 3 trucks. They just traded in, so there's not much of a market out there. We could try to sell it on our own, but then we're gonna go through the same thing we just went through. So, the price I gave you guys at $570,000 was what Leavenworth just paid for our basic truck, so he said that price is good through September. But again, we would tweak it a little bit. And then if we go with the Houston area purchasing agreement like we did last time, we saved, and I don't remember, do you remember, Dean, 15% by paying for it up front? I don't remember what the percentage was, but by paying for it up front, we've saved like 15%. Leavenworth City did not do that. They're going to float a bond issue, so they're paying more for the trucks than, you know.
Yeah, we got a break on it.
Yeah, we got a big break on, basically what we did, we paid for the truck up front, and, you know, we're paying 2-point-something% interest. If we have money in the bank, we're getting 0.9% interest. So, but 15% off of $570,000 is a pretty good chunk of change. So if we bought the truck, if you guys say, you know, in July that we're gonna budget for this truck next year, we buy the truck in August, it's about a year from the time we say we want the truck. That's how far out they are.
What do we do in a case like that? Put a little earnest money down or something?
No, what we did before on this truck, we paid for it up front.
Oh, okay.
When we
paid
signed
for
the
it.
contract in July, we paid
That's
for
when we
it
paid
in
for it.
July, and they knocked 15, and I can't remember, Dean.
Oh, that's
I think
why
it was
we got
15%.
the
It was like
discount.
15% off the truck for paying for it.
Yeah, I'm with you now, I remember that now, we got a discount.
And then we made the payments due, you know, it was a 6-month push out on the payment, so the first payment wasn't due till January of the next year. So if we budget for it in July, starting in January, then we're into the next budget year.
We're looking at approximately $561K.
Yeah, that's what he quoted me, and he said that price. Now, it's gonna be a little different, because we're gonna take some of the boxes and stuff off. It's not gonna be quite as elaborate a truck as this, but it's gonna be right around in there.
And is that with the 15% off?
No,
or
that's
is
not with
that's
the
just the flat?
Yeah, that was just a flat fee. Basically, it's the Leavenworth trucks, and he said Leavenworth didn't go with the payoff.
So,
Don't know why they didn't.
We're talking.
so when you go to quote, take something off,
Save it. We do that.
how much are you gonna degrade its capability? I mean,
Oh, nothing, the extra boxes we put up on top for carrying all our water rescue
Oh,
and
okay,
stuff, we're not
so
gonna put that on.
nothing for the...
No, nothing major, but I mean, it's gonna be, it's not gonna be quite that elaborate a truck, but we're gonna knock some off, but it's gonna be the same 1,000-gallon
Yeah,
tank on
okay,
it.
that answers my question.
so you wanna trade one, sell one?
Or if we can trade them both.
Yeah, you're gonna look at options.
Yeah, we're looking at getting rid of 2,
Yeah.
so.
So, starting at least start that process, is you're looking for that guidance to do that, right?
Yes.
All right, why don't we start that process?
Okay.
And then also adding the assistant chief's position, that's on the wish list. So what are you looking at?
Okay, what I'm looking at for here is it's my goal to have 4 people on duty during the daytime. Because we're short, we're desperately short daytime personnel, so I've always said I want to have 6 guys on duty. We got 3 guys on duty now, so let's hire 3 more guys. Jeff's made it pretty clear that he's not willing to pay for 3 more guys. So what I came up with is an assistant chief's position that would work straight days. That would give us, and he would be an exempt employee just like me, so he would work 8 to 5. If we need him in the night on weekends, then he can come in but he's here available as that fourth fireman in the daytime. He will still be an entry-level fireman. He's going to put an air pack on. He's going to fight fire. Our biggest problem is now, like, say, A shift is working on something with B shift. Well, if the officer on A shift's not here today and B shift comes in tomorrow, they're not talking back and forth, and they come into my office. Well, I've got plenty on my plate. In fact, I tried with my hand cutting back to 40-hour weeks, and that didn't work at all. So, and I know when I do retire, when you guys hire a chief to replace me, whoever you hire is not gonna come in and work 50-hour weeks. Tonganoxie just hired a new chief, Leavenworth's hired a new chief. These guys are 40-hour guys. They go home at the end of the day. They don't care at night. They're not dedicated to their departments, and that's probably, not saying that's who you guys are gonna hire, but that's what we're looking at. So if we hire the assistant chief, then the assistant chief is right in there. He's ready to rock and roll. Plus, there's now some
So you're saying
continuity,
this,
there's some continuity between all three shifts. They get down and dirty into the operations where I'm into the administration of it all day long. And so, C shift works with KU. So they call KU training on their shift they're on. Well, we're not there today, so we'll call you back tomorrow. Well, now B shift or C shift's not on tomorrow. So then they call me, well, what did Joe want? I don't know what Joe wanted, because they're working on the training side. So, and then they have to, there's a lot of stuff that gets lost.
Didn't we upgrade Jeff to take on more of a leadership role?
Well, he's the captain, but he's also running a shift. So he's not here every shift. And when I'm gone, then he has to come in on overtime to take over my shift, plus then he has to still work his shift. But he's, like he goes on a 4-day, well, he doesn't know what happens with the A and C shifts while he's on his 4 days, so
So why wouldn't you
there's
just
that loss.
replace him as a shift lead and move him into a different role?
That would be the board decision.
Well, then you could get by bringing in a lower price point person, couldn't you?
Well, that's what I'm
Did that?
saying, we would do away with the captain's position. We would go back to 3 lieutenants, so we'd have, right now, we've got 2 lieutenants and a captain running the shifts.
Yeah.
My plan would be we would go back to
You
3
only have one,
lieutenants.
how many captains?
We just have one.
Why don't we just leave him as captain? Why does it have to be an assistant chief?
Well, because,
I was just curious if you got.
well, we can make him captain running straight days and hire a lieutenant underneath him. We could do that.
He's acting as a crew chief right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah,
so.
but if we make him
With the
captain, then
assistant
he's
chief,
still,
I mean, it's
as
title,
as
but
a
he'd be here.
captain, but as a captain, he would not be exempt. He would still be a non-exempt employee, so we'd have to pay him overtime.
Yeah.
So it's title driven
Yes.
on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because what I'm looking for is, somebody like me, 1 o'clock in the morning, phone goes off, come on in.
And $4 an hour, that's a steal.
Yeah.
So that is something to think about. I mean,
now, is that zero cost gain, or?
Well, you'd pay the difference, whoever we hired. I mean, I don't know who we're gonna hire as the assistant chief, but, because what we do, if one of the lieutenants gets the assistant chief, well, then he would go the next pay grade up.
Right.
But then the captain would drop down, or if Jeff got the job, then one of the, so it's right in there.
But I mean-
We're gonna hire one more officer. We're gonna hire one more officer. We're gonna have 4 officers instead of 3.
Where does all these put us on the mill, for the mills, with all that?
I've got it figured out.
Do you know if it's above or below?
It's above where we're at now.
I know that.
Because it would be
yeah.
an extra.
Is it above 9?
No. No, the only way we go above 9 is if we hired several employees.
How many?
Several.
Several?
It was
That's a magic number. then.
Well, the magic number is 9 mils.
It is.
And
ambitious,
it's been
right?
several weeks since I've got it figured out, but it's been, and I'm not trying to stall you guys, it's been several weeks since I looked at it, so.
29 minutes.
So 9, I'm pretty comfortable thinking that it's not a non-issue at the 9 mills, just legally.
Yeah, our attorney's getting an AG opinion on it.
I would imagine it's gonna come back and say you can
Yeah.
manage your business how you need to.
Yeah.
We did go out to the taxpayers with a 9 mil,
Yeah.
so we do have just
that
an issue
didn't come
of
back well at
PR.
all.
What's that?
That didn't come back well at all.
Right, yeah, that's correct. So we did ask that question, so I
Yeah.
do think we need to at least understand that if we are gonna start to,
And when we have the budget cycle, and like I said, I don't remember what it was because it's been a month or so since I've looked at it, but I've got the I've got the truck in there in the mill levy, I've got the additional fireman from this year, and then I've got the assistant chief in. And I can't not, if you guys want to wait, I can go look. But
That's,
I don't, it's right around, it's under 9, about like 8 something, I don't know.
and you have a cost of living or something, right? Don't you have, or the gap or the,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And again, we don't know where the mill levy's gonna be. I mean, I got mine for my house went down, my valuation went down,
Yeah,
fire
mine too.
station 2 went down.
Yeah.
So we may be losing a lot of
Can I
valuation
borrow
this year.
yours? Mine went up 11,000.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't need to see it go up
Yeah,
anymore.
mine went down this year, so that's the first time mine went down in several years.
I'm sorry.
So again, we won't know any numbers at all.
It went up a little bit, not a whole lot.
Until late June.
All right. But I think you're right, Jeff. There's no mandate that we have to have an election.
Well, you got a lot of agricultural land, right?
Yeah. Hey,
See, I only got
we do.
7 acres,
Yeah.
so.
So that's the 4 things I was looking for. Like I say, the pickup truck we can buy this year out of this year's money. The additional firemen we can do, we budgeted equipment reserve money, so there's money in the equipment reserve to pay for salary for that additional fireman this year. So those are really kind of, but we'd have to budget for it next year. So I've got that in the budget, but again, we won't know until we get the valuations and all that from them. Yeah, all I wanted to do tonight was get you guys this information, get back from you what other information you may want to see to justify to your folks. So if you've got questions or got, something else you want to see, then let me know and we'll get that information to you. I'm trying not to blindside you in May.
This is good, getting it ahead of time.
Yeah,
I
trying
like
to get you
this.
guys, you got several months to chew on. So,
Thank you. Board member concerns? Dean?
Not really a concern, but I wanted to get you guys up to speed on the project with the school system. Talked to administration, talked to the counselors, talked to a couple teachers that right now are teaching first responding. They're very excited about having a partnership with the fire district. They're putting together criteria right now that would allow a student to qualify to be able to come down. The way I'm looking at it right now, and if it's an approved school program, the students are covered by the district insurance. The only piece I haven't done yet, I was waiting to make sure they're on board, and they are, is I want to meet with the chief and some of the firemen here to see how they feel about it. Number-wise, if we're looking at maybe a max of 6 or 8 or whatever it is, I think we're going to get a big impact on the community, especially the high school, if some of these students are coming back to school wearing Fire District 1 t-shirts. Where'd you get that? I'm in a program. What program? Et cetera, et cetera. And they agreed that the kid who's taken off to Yale next year is not a good candidate for this program. The one going to junior college, or the one that's sticking around. And this way, our firemen, the chief, can look at these students and say, Billy needs to go. Bobby, as soon as he's 18, give him a helmet. We may have a good opportunity for quality volunteers through this program. But the school, Dr. Bagby, I went all through the school system, and they're on board.
So, do we get to have any input, Dean, as to helping identify what these students, like you said, the counselors are trying to determine what the criteria is?
Absolutely.
It
What I
seems
would-
like they would be asking our chief to help us identify what would be good criteria versus the Yale, Harvard.
That's what I'd like to do. From their side, it's going to be participation, grades, et cetera. But from the fire district here, I want to get, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
What do you want to see in a potential volunteer or a program like this? And like the medical program, do we rotate it then every 6 weeks? Bring a new batch in? Parameters like that, I want to talk to the men down here and see how they feel about it, and if it's worth 6 weeks or 6 months, what's it going to be? But we take a truck up to the school and initiate this program and take our first 6 recruits put T-shirts on them, send them to school, and the word will spread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I had was, it's a first, we're all decked out. We're taking pictures tonight? Okay,
Yeah.
Tony's even here,
Tonight's
Perfect.
official
picture night.
photographers.
all right.
There you go.
That's all I got, Jeff. Thanks.
I did get, on that related note, I did get Fairmont's SOPs on their cadet program.
Oh, good.
But in the last month, usually I'm a 2-finger typer, and last month I was a 1-finger typer, so typing this took forever. So I will be getting on that here, now that I got both fingers back. So,
Well, let me know. I'd be glad to sit in and talk to everyone about your side of it and what you would expect from the school district.
okay.
Jim?
I just noticed that in February, the video for the meeting didn't make the website. Was there a reason?
No?
Okay, did we have technical difficulties or we just?
It's called the city.
It's, yeah,
On the website, our website or the
Yeah.
city's website?
our website. Where it says on February video, you click and it doesn't even allow you to click.
Okay.
So,
You send it off to somebody that puts it on there? Is that the process?
Dave on A Shift does that, and
People are knocking down the door to see that.
I know. I will get on it.
Marcus?
Clicker's on override.
Yep. Anything?
I don't have anything, no.
Jim?
Well, our financial situation has got quite a bit of sunlight showing on it so far. Right now, we're at the closest percent, 4% below straight line, which equates to about $40,000. Of course, that could go south next month real quickly, but right now, we're carrying a $40,000 pad
Do we have all the bills from the increase in runs and everything?
based on straight line.
I think it's just fuel. and-
Just fuel. Yeah, but fuel's been so cheap.
Yeah, true.
Right now,
Yeah, it is.
we are probably 25% ahead of last year. Last year was 25% ahead of the year before, but with fuel being down, and luckily, we've gone through all these fires, and we've only had one incident with a truck. So,
Yeah. Watch the stumps.
we haven't broke anything major,
That's all I have.
knock on wood.
I don't have anything. Move to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Marcus Major,
Yes.
Dean Robert,
Yes.
Jim Westmoreland,
Yes.
Jim Cricky,
Yes.
Jeff White.
Yes.